Hey guys, it's Handy Jeff, and today we are going to be showing you how to remodel an entire bathroom as far as fixtures are concerned. We're going to go over exactly how to replace some old trim. We're doing an entire shower valve, and then we're also going to be doing a vanity sink faucet, and last but not least, an awesome toilet. I'm combining all three of these videos together for you, so that way if you want to do this, you can just start from square one and come back to the video when you're ready to do the next project. Anyway, thank you so much and enjoy the video. All right, so up first, we've got this beautiful Delta shower faucet. And we actually replaced the entire shower valve, so that's going to be the first video. It's going to get started now. Today on Handy Jeff, we are turning this two-handle monstrosity into this modern finish, single handle shower valve. So just like with most things, every situation is different, especially when you are changing a two-handle faucet into a one-handle faucet. So there's a whole bunch of different situations, so you may have to overcome those. But what I am doing today, this is going to have probably two copper pipes. I'm hoping they're copper, not galvanized, but we won't know until we get the wall opened up. I'm going to have to put an access panel in, and sometimes, which this faucet is so little, I don't think I will need to, but sometimes you need a remodel plate. I will leave a link to pretty much everything I'm going to use down in the description. But let's go over some of the things you're more than likely going to need. As somebody who is a plumber, I only will put Delta products in for showers. So I've got my multi-choice shower valve. I've got my trim piece here. It comes with a shower head, shower arm. There's an escutcheon in here someplace. Your actual cartridge. I've got my access panel. This access panel is going to go on the wall and cover up the hole I'm going to end up having to make. Flashlight, some Go Juice, obviously. Now, more than likely, if you have a full-size two-handle faucet, you will not need one of these. You will not need a hole saw. But chances are I'm going to, because in case you can't tell, that thing in there is so small that I'm probably going to have to open it up to a regular sized hole for my multi-choice valve, which in that case you also won't need this remodel plate. So, but if you have a regular size two handle, then more than likely you will need one of those. I've got an assortment of channel locks. Probably won't need anything other than the channel locks, these PEX cutters, some tape and dope in order to seal some adapters, something to open the hole in the wall with. I've got my PEX expander, my PEX box over there, some other parts, and then my Pro Press gun. Now chances are you're not going to have all these specialty tools. And I'm about to get roasted in the comments by somebody, but it's your house. If you want to put shark bite fittings to seal the couplings together, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you need to know what a shark bite fitting, please hold. So another method of connecting could be a shark bite fitting. They come in all shapes and sizes. This is a 1/2-inch coupling. You would also need female adapters for your shower valve. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. And it's your house, so do what you want. But anyway, let's get back to it. All right, before we get started, we're gonna run down in the basement and shut the water off. So let's do that. Here's our water meter, water main shut-off valve. Go ahead and shut it off. If the handle is across the pipe, that means it is shut off. Once you've got your water shut off, go ahead and drain that water down and go ahead and open these up. I know down below, I've got some holes opened up, so this will drain out down below. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the hardware here, because I don't need this hitting me in the face while I'm trying to change this stuff out. So we're going to get rid of the shower head. We're also going to go ahead. Oh, they got her on there good. We're also going to go ahead and remove the shower arm, which, holy cow, they've got it on there. This is the old one. We don't have to worry about damaging it because I don't think you're going to want to save your old shower arm. All right, perfect. Got it out of there. I'm going to bring you a little closer. The next step is going to be removing these handles, which I'm sure are going to be a struggle because I don't see a name brand on them. That's generally how you know it's going to be good. So in order to get in there, I think I'm going to have to pop this cover off. There we go. And same thing on this one. Perfect. And as you can see, we've got 2 screws here. Let's go ahead and take these screws out. Once you're all the way out, go ahead and remove them. All right, perfect. Okay, so now we're going to take a measurement from the floor and kind of get an eye view of where the shower valve is. You don't have to be exact because you do have that huge access panel. So I'm thinking 46 inches. That gets me, you know, about on par with that shower valve. So 46 inches off the floor. Then from the edge of this wall, 19.5 it looks like. All right, we're gonna go ahead and sharpen up our old Dixon Ticonderoga. This is what I like to use to mark things. I don't know why, ever since high school. Probably because I was a weird kid. I've loved the triangle pencil. So, sharpen your pencil, get a marking tool, just so you can mark on the wall. That's all you gotta do. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go to our 19 or our 46, make a mark. Doesn't have to be pretty. 19.5. It's going to be right there. Come back one more time just for good old time's sake. Go to our 46. I'm left-handed, so this is difficult for me. So what this is going to allow us to do is to cut a hole and to be able to set this bad boy in there, and it'll cover everything up very nicely. Just to keep everything kosher here, I am going to take the center of my hook and run a line down. Okay, so that's pretty close. I've got a level on it. It's never going to be perfect, but I'm going to go ahead and mark as much of this as I can. This would be great if I had an extra helper, but what we're doing is marking the inside here. Alright, so even though it doesn't look like it, that's supposedly level. The hardest thing is to not let the entire thing move on you. Now it might leave a little bit to be desired as far as these markings, but hey, it's what we've got. So now we're going to go ahead and use a roto zip and cut that out. Does this drywall even stand a chance? I'm drinking Monster. Drywall don't stand a chance. Alright, here is our shower valve. Back behind. Now keep in mind, I'm using a Pro Press gun, so I'm going to have to be able to set this thing here. And here. And up here. So when I cut these pipes, I want to make sure that I'm not cutting too small. So I'm going to go ahead and cut, just leave a, you can always cut more off, but I'm going to leave enough that if I'm coming clear across here, I'm still going to be able to reach what I'm trying to press. There are a billion different types of pipe cutters, but just go ahead, find one that fits, and go ahead and cut your pipes. Now the biggest thing here, I don't know if there's any strapping that's going to hold this pipe down below. So I might have to go chase after this copper pipe here in a second. Oh, look at that. Somebody actually plumbed something right. It does have a little bit of give, but that's fine. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Go ahead and cut this bad boy out. Perfect. That's 2 out of 3. Now, we're going to go ahead and cut this top part out. Once again, leaving enough that I can get my Pro Press gun in there. And after we do this shower valve is going to be completely free. And you know where that needs to go? Right into the scrap pile. The old valve. Whoop, there's a little water in there. Good thing the flooring is waterproof. So now we're going to go ahead and make up our shower valve. So in order to make up our shower valve, what we're going to need is our female adapters. As you can see, this shower valve has a female iron pipe, 1/2 inch. And these are female by PEX adapters. I'm going to go ahead and get 3 of those bad boys out because that's how many we're going to need. And you might be like, oh no, why do we need 3? Hot, cold, and then the actual shower itself. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this plastic trim piece gently because they get a good hold and you do not want to break it because that's what's actually going to hold the trim in later. Perfect. So now we've got our shower valve. Things we're going to need to do this: some thread tape, some pipe dope, because I do both, and then 2 pairs of channel locks. So what we're going to do is take our thread tape and we are going to wrap this clockwise. Why clockwise? So that way when you're tightening it, it's going to continue to tighten. I'm going to wrap it 4 times at least and break it off. We're going to do that to all the rest of these as well. Now we have our taped up threads. We're going to take our pipe dope, just run some around the edge of those threads there. Make sure you don't get any inside the actual shower valve. Then, because I don't want to touch this stuff because it's stickier than hell, I'm going to go ahead, screw on my adapter. Then on the other side. Okay, so now we're sitting here, we've got 2 adapters on. We're going to go ahead and take some pipe dope again. Go ahead and run it around there. Go ahead and put our last adapter on. Now we have to tighten these. I love these Knipix pliers. They make this a lot easier than channel locks. This is what actually sold me on the brand to begin with. So we're just going to go ahead, and the cool thing is when they're opposite, you can just go ahead and tighten them. I move my hands down here so that I've got a good grip. And we can just go ahead and tighten. It's going to tighten both sides. And there we have, one side is tightened. Now we must tighten this other side. Now this makes it a little bit difficult to tighten the shower arm part. Since a normal multi-choice will have a tub spout as well, I would be able to grab both just like I previously did, but I can't. So I'm going to get this good and tight, and that's about there. All right, now our valve is made up. So like I said, I'm going to have to drill a hole in my shower surround. So this is actually a 3-inch hole saw, which is exactly the size that it needs to be able to get the trim screws in. I might have to file a little bit on each side or something like that just to be able to get the trim screws in, but that'll be fine. So go ahead and set up your hole saw, and then I'm going to teach you the trick. Put it in reverse. Why? Because if you put it on fiberglass straight on, it's going to run all over, and then you're going to be hiring somebody to fix your fiberglass surround for you. So if you can see here, I went ahead and took a center measurement, which is right here. Okay, so remember, we've got our blade in reverse. So we're going to go right on that center line and just go slow. Make sure that we start pretty close to that center part. All right, so we're through with the actual screw portion, or the actual drill portion. So we're going to go ahead. Hey, would you look at that? We got a hole. I don't have a 2x4, so please hold. I'm going to go get a 2x4 and I'll show you exactly why I love Delta rough ends. Hello everybody, it's a new day and I've got wood. So we're going to finish this up now, today. It's happening. Okay, since we went ahead and got our 2x4, what we're going to do is we're going to measure in between the studs here. So I'm going to push this bad boy all the way there. And as you can see, we've got about 16.5, and that's going to be tight. So we're going to cut 16.5 of a 2x4. Yes, this is a toilet box, but as you can see, I've got my 16.5 measured out here, and thank goodness for Sawzalls. I thought I had my circular saw here. I don't. So this probably isn't going to be perfect. Now look at that. I have not fastened this at all. But one reason I love a good Delta faucet is because if you go ahead and set this 2x4 in here, all the way in the back, to where it lines up, you're going to be able to screw your Delta faucet straight in to this 2x4, which is excellent. Now this is the portion where we're going to just prep these water lines. So what this is sand screen. I'm going to go ahead and clean up these edges. Clean up this pipe. Luckily this pipe has been in a wall, so it's not particularly dirty. Alright, so as you can see, I have now cleaned up all of my pipes and ran it across the face to take care of any burrs. Now, there is a deburring tool, I just don't seem to have mine with me, and that's okay. But someone in the comment section is going to say, oh, you need to deburr that. Well, guess what? It's going to work perfectly fine just the way it is. Now, if you remember, I'm going to install it, the actual shower valve, in PEX. But that means I need to be able to adapt to PEX from the copper. So this is a little pro press. What you would use probably would end up being more of a shark bite fitting right here, which a coupling would work perfectly fine. You could just jam the PEX down into the coupling, but I want a professional connection. So I'm going to go ahead and pro press these adapters, these PEX, expansion PEX adapters, right on the ends of all three of these pipes. Now remember back in the day when you used to have to sweat copper? Well, this little magic guy right here makes it so I don't have to do that anymore. All you got to do is pinch it on there, make sure you got a good connection, and pull the trigger. I did an entire review twice on this machine, and it saved me so much time and money. this was still a fitting that needed to be soldered, I'd still be breaking out my torch to be able to do that, and we're already done. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to stub some PEX down on our shower valve that will reach all three of these connections. So we've got our 3 pieces of PEX. These are all, you know, a foot. I just eyeballed it. They've just got to be long enough to connect. And what's cool is these little rings, they just slide over the ends with expansion PEX, and the tool does all of the work. So now we've got 3 little legs set up basically, and we have our shower valve. Now what we're going to do is connect these 3 pieces of PEX to the shower valve. Battery died. Well, good thing it's almost lunchtime. Time to charge. Unless I could find another one of these. Well, don't worry everyone, crisis averted. I had another 12 volt here for my little handy drill. Now we just have to wait until this expands. Since that got stuck on an expansion cycle when the battery died, this little guy's pretty loose. That's okay. We'll just let it chill here for a little bit. It will close back up. So this is going to be sitting straight right in there. So how do we get down to those? We got to put on a 90-degree bend. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Am I using a toilet as a stand? Yes. Yes, I am. With an expansion PEX, you can only go as far. You don't want your expander to go down into the other fitting. So we're going to take a rough measurement here. Go ahead and snip that off. Do the same thing on the other side. Like I said, this is a rough measurement. Just got to be careful when we're expanding it. Now we'll stick our expansion rings on the ends. And then we go ahead and put our fitting in there. Now it's starting to look like we're going to be able to reach our pipes, doesn't it? Do the same thing on the other side. And there we have it. We're going to be able to reach down to our pipes now. Okay, so let me just show you how this is going to work. This is going to sit like this. This pipe is going to be able to be bent over there. This one's going to be able to be bent over here because it's pretty hollow down below. Now, that means once we figure out exactly where we want our shower valve to be, we're going to have to go ahead and cut our pipe for our shower head here. This is definitely much easier if you have 2 sets of hands, but you know what? We don't today, and I've got a camera in front of me. So we're going to go ahead and make a measurement. And you can see the fitting will go to right here where my thumb is. I like it, so this is where we're going to end up cutting it. Right where my finger is. The edge of my thumb. Now, do you see what's going to happen? If I cut this, I'm going to end up dropping my shower valve, so you got to move your hand over. Boom, just like that. And now we're going to go ahead and expand it. I may have hit the camera on that one, so let's hope. Nope, we don't have enough to expand it, or enough expansion left. So, just going to give it a couple more hits. Now we'll go ahead and connect it. Now once that shrinks up, we're going to be good to go. And we just got to connect our 2 actual water lines. This band is actually going to be an extra set of hands for me. All right, so our next step is to hook up the water lines. And as you can see, we're going to have to bend this over. Got to get a good reading on a measurement here.
Yeah, there's multiple different ways to do this. You could actually break out a measuring device of some sort, but you can also use your finger. So I'm going to rest it on the top there. Oh, look. Fiberglass sucks. You can get that little splinter out. Whew. Alright, so I'm going to rest this piece on that stop there. And then we're going to come down here. I'm trying to do this so that you can see what I got going on. We're just going to take a measurement about right here. Go ahead and nip it off. Then we went ahead and put our expander bands on there. Now we're going to expand it. If you've been watching, I expand it 3 times on one side, and that allows you to put it in on the joint. So I'm actually going to hit one side with 5 and one side with 3, just so I know I can connect both joints at once. There's 5. There's 1. There's 1, 2, and 3. Set that down so it doesn't damage the floor. And then we just gotta let this go ahead. And shrink up. Okay, and then we're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Now we just gotta let it go ahead and shrink up. All right, we went ahead and leveled that. As you can see here, it's good and level. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and get our board set in here. And we just gotta line up our screw holes here with the board itself. And as long as this 2x4 is back here, then we know it's gonna be good to go. You guys probably aren't going to be able to see this one. Heck yeah, dude. Finally we're able to get it in there. Check it out. Okay, so now the goal, I don't know if we can see this. Let me zoom in here for you. There's a hole right here where we're going to put a screw. There's also one down in here where I'm going to put a screw as well. We're going to have to file this out here. So we're going to make it work with what we got. I found some tiny little screws. Unfortunately, normally I would just use a much longer screw and driver, but I don't have one here. So it is actually Friday and I'm about to have to go to work. So we're going to go ahead and just screw this thing in by hand. I'll move you over so you can see. Who says you need drills? Yeah, power tools make life easier, but sometimes it's good to be able to handle stuff on your own. Now, if you were doing this and you had a remodel plate, you wouldn't have to deal with any of this, because this would be all open. All right, the other screw hole is right down here. So I could probably get to it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and file this off to make it a little easier. So I am in the screw hole right now, so I'm just gonna take that off right there. All right, I think I'm gonna be able to reach it now. What do you know? It caught. And now for the fun part, we got to start assembling things. So we're going to go ahead and take this trim piece out. You want to hold on to your nut here. Here is the cartridge. Since I want this to be, here's a trick, by the way. Since I want this to be as hot as they possibly could want to have it, you pull this out and twist. Get it set back down in there. So right there is the hottest possible setting. Also, hot's on the left, cold is on the right. So hot, it will go this way. And it should only sit in here. Then we're gonna go ahead and put our nut on, tighten that bad boy down. And as you can see, it ended up seating in there pretty good. I like to grab onto this with just a pair of channel locks, just tighten it a hair more than finger tight. Okay, so now we've got our little trim piece. Here's our spacer. We just go ahead and put that all the way down into the bottom. If I can get it set here, there we go. And it bottoms out. We've got this little rubber piece, which we just feed over the edge here. And this will set right over that. That rubber piece acts as kind of like a seal. All right, so we set our rubber piece right on the other side of that chrome nut. Then we're gonna go ahead and put this in. That slides in just like that. Now the fun begins, because we're gonna have to try to line the screws up, these long screws, with our trim piece in the back. If you have two people, it's not too bad because you're able to actually talk to people, talk to each other, and figure out where it needs to go. See, I was worried about this. For this one, we're gonna have to knock out and file out part of this here. So let's see where this needs to go. That's gonna need to be down. So we're gonna go ahead and file out just this little spot here. As you can see, now that is a straight shot in. I'm gonna take up just a hair more. Repeat the same process, take our little washer here, our little rubber, and go ahead and put this on. And I like to slide this on over because that kind of helps hold everything in. Then we're gonna find where our screw hole is once again. Go ahead and screw this in. So you can actually manipulate this just a hair. So I'm going to level this since I've got a flat piece, a flat trim, whereas other ones may not be completely flat. It's beautiful, isn't it? A little dusty, but that's bound to happen. We're gonna go ahead and put the handle on now, which this particular handle comes as a square, and there is a Allen key screw. It's all the way down in there like that. Put it in like so, and then, excuse my blocking you, we're going to tighten that Allen key down. All right, there was a little bit of thread locker there, so I ended up having to loosen and tighten it a little bit just to get the Allen key to where I'll be able to use it. So there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that and I'm not reaching over you too much. All right, now that shower valve won't move. Check it out. Now what we need to do is go ahead and put our shower arm on, which is all the way up here. I also forgot to mention this little guy covers that Allen key hole, whatever you want to call it. So go ahead and put your trim piece in. Perfect. Now let's move on to the shower arm. All right, we're going to take our shower arm and we're going to go ahead and tape it just like before. If you watch that part of the show, we're going to wrap it clockwise so that when we tighten, it's going to continue to tighten the tape. We're going to put our sketching on. I'm going to slide it up a little bit more, I think. And then we just go ahead and screw this bad boy. Make sure you've got it lined up straight as well. Because if you cross thread this, you got to buy yourself a new one. And we're just going to go ahead and screw this as tight as you can. If you want to know the cheat code here that you learned from being on the job, you can take a pair of channel locks, take the handle, stick it in here, and actually twist using the channel locks as well. That looks about right. Put her sketching up. Let me pull you up there so you can check it out. Now look, that is beautiful. In a perfect world, nobody would move this, but I'm gonna go ahead and level this. There we go. Now we go ahead and take our shower head. Now you don't have to tape the shower head because you can see there is a little washer right in there. So we're gonna go ahead, just tighten this bad boy up. I will actually tighten this all the way by hand. There we go. We got a new shower head. Whew, I had to run a couple water lines so that I can turn the water on our shower. So let's go do that. This is a good chance that if you left these open, when you drained your water lines down, shut everything that you had open. Okay, so now we're gonna turn the water on, but we're gonna do it slowly. You don't wanna just water hammer everything. You wanna go ahead, turn it on slow, and it helps if you have somebody to yell at you if anything's leaking. But you can hear it quit running. Sounds like we're okay. All right, guys, moment of truth. Look at that water pressure. Heck yeah. Now, let's go around the corner and we want to check, make sure we don't have any leaks. Go ahead and let all the air run out of those lines. But heck yeah, it looks like we got ourselves a brand new shower. So now if your piece doesn't want to fit for your access panel, just kind of clean up the edges and snap it in there. And there we have it. We've got our access panel and we've got our shower. This has been Handy Jeff. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. If you did, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in another video. This has been Handy Jeff, out. Then we also went ahead and replaced this awesome vanity faucet. This really modernized the space, and that video is starting right now. We've got a new toilet, a new shower, so that means this old grody thing just ain't gonna do. Let's update this to a much better faucet. Wow, this is nice. Check it out. Today on Handy Jeff, we are replacing a vanity faucet, and I'm going to show you how. This is super simple, so let's get to it. So we're even going the extra mile and going to pipe it in chrome, so you guys don't have to watch that part if that's not necessary to you. You just rehook your plastic back up. But we've got the new vanity faucet. It comes with a drain. We're going to put the drain in. So for tools, we're going to need some plumber's putty, pair of channel locks, my sink tool, and if you guys do want to do in chrome, just some cutters and a flashlight. So just for this video, I hung this pedestal sink back up, which I don't have the front pedestal so that you guys can see what's going on here. And essentially, I had it off the wall so that it could be painted, but it's going to make it pretty simple. If you have supply lines, I'll show you what you'll need to do. The first step that you'll need to do is make sure you shut the water off. So these are already shut off. I don't want to crack them open because there is water on here. So these are shut off to the right. So you'll want to twist both of your stops to the right, to the clockwise position, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so to the right, like I said. Then you will more than likely, unless it's a new build, have supply lines that will be going from the threads on the top of the stop all the way to the bottom of your faucet right here. And if that's the case, we're just going to unscrew it. You would take a pair of channel locks, pliers, or an adjustable pipe wrench, grab onto it, and then lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, undo it at the bottom. Then you would take your sink tool. As you can see, this has a ton of different fittings for just this function, and you'll slide it up your supply line all the way up to where you're over the nut, and go ahead and twist your supply lines off. Once you've got to that point, you're going to be in the exact same place I am right now. We got to get rid of this old faucet. This thing's got to go. So you're going to grab on. See how that was held on? It's just pinched on for your pop-up. You may or may not have one of those. Then you're going to reach up here, and I'm not going to be able to do this by hand, but then you'll untwist this. So let's use some channel locks to do that. Just going to grab on here, twist it till it's loose, and that slides right off. The next step, we got to take this bad boy off. As you can see, it wasn't very tight. You may have to grab onto this with a pair of pliers. And to get it all the way off, you got to loosen this too as well. Look at that, isn't that nice? Go ahead and finish twisting this bad boy off. Once you've got this loose, you can go ahead and take your P-trap off. You are going to want a piece of Tupperware or a big bowl or something to catch the gunk that is going to be inside here, because there will be water. This has already been off, so I know there isn't going to be any water, but all you have to do is twist these off, and sometimes you got to use two hands, but just go ahead and twist it off. I don't have anything there, so there's no water in this. Normally there would be water and you would have some spillage, so you want to catch that. This, actually, whoever plumbed this before didn't even put a nut on the other side of this, but normally you would have a nut connecting to this drain. It'll just look like this. You'll just have to untwist it. Okay, so now we're just going to take the center out. And now, since we've got that loose, we have to unloosen the pipe down below. And you'll see, I was just twisting it to the left. You could see it turning in there. Now that that's loose, this will come right out. We are now on to unscrewing the actual nuts that hold the faucet on itself. Let me show you why this tool is so magnificent. On this end, you'll see there's a bunch of notches all the way around it. Those will catch those actual nuts that hold the faucet on. So all we got to do is take that piece out, stick this bad boy up there, and just twist it to the left. Once it's loose, you can loosen it by hand, or you can continue to use the tool. And if you needed a close-up, this is what those nuts actually look like. Let's go ahead and do the other side. The cool thing about this tool is I'm not even looking. I'm literally staring at the camera screen sitting on my bottom. And this is just catching that nut and loosening it for me. There we go. Now if you see this hole in this faucet, I'd say it's high time that this baby was changed. Once those are loose, all you have to do is pull that bad boy out. And now we're free of the faucet. One thing I didn't mention is we gotta clean this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use a scraper and scrape off all this gunk from Lord knows how many years this faucet's been on there. Just using a wipe right here to get the extra gunk off. So we want to clean this up as nice as we can, because chances are this faucet's going to sit on there for a long time again. All right, we've got that all cleaned up, both in the inside and on the back. But if you paid attention, our new faucet only has one hole, so we need to put a cover plate on. That's what this guy is. It will just sit on there and cover up the rest of the holes. Now the excellent thing about this particular faucet is that it comes with an installation tool. This nut
is what actually holds everything on. So we'll just take that off. And then this is the holding plate that will hold everything down. There is a washer. I'm going to set that off to the side. Set the nut down on the ground. We're going to take our hoses and we're going to run it straight down in through that cover plate. All right, perfect. Once that's down through, we just got to go back underneath and attach it. All right, we are just going to go ahead and slide our washer and our washer down, our rubber and our washer. And then we're going to take that nut, just get it so that it starts tightening on there. And we're going to take our tool and it slides up where that nut's at. And then we just go ahead and tighten it down. Once you have tightened it just so that it's snug, you got to come up above and line your faucet up to where you want it to be, where it will be straight or as straight as possible. Right there looks good. I know the optics kind of make it look weird through camera, but that's about as straight as it's going to go. And then we're just going to come down here. Then we're just going to come back down and tighten it down the rest of the way. Make sure that it gets a very tight seal. Once the faucet itself is installed, we got to hook up the supply lines. So once again, we're going to hook left is the hot, as long as your home is plumbed correctly. And the blue is the cold, which is on the right side. But you have to do more than just tighten it down. By hand, you must use a pair of channel locks, a wrench, a pair of pliers, just something to tighten your supply lines down. Make sure you hold back up while you are tightening these, so that your stops don't spin. This is perfect. It's going to give us just enough so that we are happy. Now we've got to take care of our drain. We're going to take our pop-up off in the middle. Go ahead and unscrew this bottom all the way. Take this nut off. And as you can see, this particular drain, it doesn't twist or anything like the old one. It just sits down in there. There's also a washer on here. And here comes the comment section, because a lot of people will just install this rubber washer and call it good. I actually will remove the rubber washer completely and use some plumber's putty. We're just going to roll out a little snake of plumber's putty. I'll show you how to do that. This is how they've set sinks for a very long time. Some people will say that you need to use silicone. I just choose to use plumber's putty. So we're just going to take a little bit and roll it through our hands. It's like Play-Doh. We're just making snakes like you're in kindergarten again. And then you're going to roll this bad boy all the way around on your drain. And this will actually create a watertight seal. And it is serviceable, unlike silicone. Okay, so the next step, we're going to take our plumber's puttied drain and we're going to go ahead and put it down into the drain hole from the bottom there. Try to get that plumber's putty to sink way down in there. Kind of press on it a little bit, and then we come back down below. Once you're down below, this will go ahead and sink up in there. And also, pay attention to the direction of this. So this particular washer, if you look at it, it's beveled. It's beveled because this side will be pushed up into the sink and create a watertight seal. So we put the beveled side up. Go ahead and push it up as high as you can, so now you've got a flat piece of washer for your nut. And then we just go ahead and tighten it down. I went ahead and removed our excess plumber's putty, and here's our pop-up. It just sets down in there.
and pops up just like that. It's actually not held in by anything. You can remove it to clean all the hair that you're gonna leave in there from when you shave. And now let's put that drain in. For this portion, because I have to get good measurements, I'm gonna go ahead and put my pedestal sink bottom back in. This will more than likely not pertain to you. Okay, if you are not going to be putting a new drain on, just go ahead and hook your P-trap up like it was before. But if you are putting a new drain on, you can follow these steps. Let's get this packaging off. Okay, so this is what's called a choker drain. It starts off right here as 1.25 inches because that's what most vanity sinks are, and then it eventually ends up at 1.5 inches for better flow and runs as 1.5 inches into the wall. Let's go ahead and hook it up. Okay guys, you are in the forbidden land of the inside of a pedestal sink. If you like that I'm doing my best to get you the best views, hit a thumbs up. That really would help the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. So this drain, like I said, is 1.25 inches, which is a smaller size. So we're gonna take our nut, go ahead and feed it up in there, and we're gonna follow it with this plastic washer. The plastic washer, when you put it on, make sure the beveled side is towards the drain side. And that will hold your nut right on there. So the next step is to take the P-trap. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to line it up so that the end of the P-trap will be facing our drain, which is right over here. There we go, our drain, which is right over here. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this bad boy up just loosely so that I can still move it up and down. And that way I will be able to tell exactly where I need to have the P-trap be. Okay, so you can see what we're dealing with here. You can tell that this trap arm is way too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut quite a bit off. Now in order to make a cut in chrome, we're gonna use just a big pair of pipe cutters. Normally these are used for copper pipe, but they work on chrome as well. So we'll just go ahead and spin this. You could spin either the cutters or the chrome itself. And every time you make a rotation, just twist 1/4 of a turn. And you just keep doing this. It just breaks right off. All right, I just checked and there wasn't quite enough cut off because we're still within our adjustment. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off just a hair more because you do have some space inside of the pipe itself. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut this off. Excellent. Now you see how this is connected, right? Well, we're just so lucky that we don't have enough space there. So we're gonna have to get a chrome extension, which means I have to come back tomorrow because I almost have to make it to work at my other job. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I will be back tomorrow, but because of the magic of the internet, it takes no time at all. Okay, boom. Like I said, extension tube, that's exactly what this is. Magic of the internet, it's the next day. Extension tube is 6 inches long, and it comes with the nut and the washer that you need, and it's just going to set up right where the drain is, right there, and will extend down far enough to meet our P-trap. Since we have all of our pieces, we're going to assemble the drain as much as we can before we actually get underneath the sink and finish it up. There's a lot more space out here. So we're going to take a nut, go ahead and throw it on. Then we're going to take a washer, go ahead and throw it on. Make sure the beveled side is down and the flat side is up. See how that makes sense there? So that the washer will actually push down onto and create a good seal. Take our P-trap, we're going to put our extension down into the P-trap. Really, this is about as much space as we're probably going to need, more than likely. So we'll just loosely tighten that so the nut doesn't fall off. This piece is actually going to go on the drain itself. I will show you that here in a second. Then we got to set up our P-trap. It just is a flange and we'll go together just like this. And that brings us to the final portion of the drain, which we have a bit of an issue. I do not have another chrome nut, which means we are going to use this plastic one. This has tabs, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these tabs off. If you're doing this, you probably don't care if you have tabs, but I'm going to have to hide it using this flange, and as you can see, it won't fit far enough down in there without the flange sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these tabs off. I will be right back. All right, scratch that. I was able to find a nut that doesn't have any tabs and a washer. So what we're going to be doing here is our flange will go on first, followed by the nut, followed by the washer. If I can get it to go on. There we go. Tight fit. And essentially, this is what the drain is going to look like, just underneath the sink. So let's move to putting it underneath the sink. Okay, once again, we've got our exit drain here. We've got the sink drain here. We're gonna go ahead, take this portion of our trap that goes, our trap arm is what it's called, that goes through the wall. We're gonna go ahead and put that all the way in there. Just not tighten anything, but get it so that it's nice and loose and we can move it around. Then we're gonna take our drain, and remember we needed to put another nut on here because we have to be able to attach to that extension. So let's go ahead and put our nut on here, slide her up, and then put our washer on. Once again, making sure the bevel is in the right location. Just like that. And then we're going to sneak in here. And I am doing this completely blind, so this is awesome. I can't see anything. All right, so now we're going to slide this bad boy down and loosely tighten it. Just tight enough that it isn't going to fall off without us wanting it to. All right, now we just have to slide this up and slide this out so that they will meet, and then we need to connect them. Go ahead and connect our trap. Perfect. Now we have to connect our washer that goes through the wall. Once again, as you can see here, I am just screwing this bad boy on. It looks like they used some kind of glue to try to do it before, because there was no washer on it last time. Go ahead and tighten this bad boy down. Awesome. And the flange doesn't quite hide it, but it looks better than nothing, right? Now we just got to tighten all of our nuts up, make sure that they're good and tight. That one is. What about this one here? That's pretty tight. What about this one here? And there we have a beautiful chrome drain. Check it out. That connects straight to the sink drain. You know what time it is. Let's test this sucker out. All right, guys, we'll just go ahead, turn our stops on, get the other one too, just like that. Let's see how she works. And yes, you are going to have air bubbles just like that anytime that you drain the water down. We're probably going to have a couple more explosions here. Check it out. That runs awesome. Let's make sure our drain isn't going to leak. As you can see, we've got a bit of an issue. Time to get the channel locks out. Take care of this leaking guy. Because I don't think, well, maybe I can tighten it down enough myself. All right, I went and got a pair of the big boys. Just gonna get in here, grab onto it, and give her a tighten. All right, let's release our overflow. See if we're leaking still. It does appear to be leaking. So we're gonna take this off and see if we can troubleshoot it. So what I've done is I went ahead moved a little bit out of the way so that we can adjust all of our nuts and get to them very easily. So I moved our pedestal out of the way. Go ahead and tighten that up. Tighten this little guy up. All right, I'm gonna fill this, run this bad boy again. See if we've got a good connection now. All right, check it out. We've got water running down. Don't have any active leaks. Let's fill our pop-up up. All right, now let's hit the pop-up. And do we have any leaks? We do not. That's a mission accomplished. Hey guys, if you liked and you appreciated this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. That helps push this message to more people. And we gotta get the world handy. So Handy Jeff out. We'll see you in another video. And last but not least, we've got the beautiful one-piece Kohler toilet. I'm gonna show you how to replace a toilet in the last part of this video. And that starts right now. Guys, this toilet just isn't gonna do. You know, it's old, it's an Enviro flush, it's a two-piece, so you have to worry about your tank bolts leaking. So we're gonna take this sad toilet and turn it into this, a throne fit for a king, and flushes to take care of those king-sized, well, you know what. I just love the swirl action we got in there. This is a throne for the ages. In this video, it will show you how to install this awesome Kohler toilet. Okay guys, first step in getting rid of the old toilet, we're gonna come down here and turn our stop off. Perfect, once that is shut off, we're going to then flush the toilet and leave that handle set so that it will get all of the water out of the tank. After we have the water shut off and you've ran as much water out of the toilet as you can, you're gonna need to use a towel or a bucket or a cup or a shop vac. So I'm gonna use the shop vac. I'm gonna suck out the water that's in here and I'm gonna suck out what's left in here. This is extremely loud because I've been sucking concrete dust with it. So I apologize for how loud this is about to be. I will make this a sped up portion of the video. All right, excellent. There's no water in the bowl. There's no water in the tank now. We're gonna go ahead and close that, come down, and now we have to remove our supply line. This supply line is screwed on just using a little gray piece. So just go ahead, unscrew it. There will be a little bit of water in here. Do not fret about that. No big deal. As you can see. Now we just got to clean that little bit up. I am also going to be changing my supply line, and I would recommend that you do as well if you're putting a new toilet on. So we're just going to go ahead and remove this using a pair of pliers. It just twists. Once it's loose enough, you can use your hands. Go ahead and take it off. All right. Make sure you clean up your mess. So this particular toilet did not have any bolt cap covers, but if you do, just take a putty knife, put it underneath, and pop it up. We're gonna go ahead and remove this. This is actually only finger tight on this one, but normally you would have to use a pair of pliers and just twist and loosen it. We're gonna go ahead and loosen these bolts, take them out. And that's one side. Now we've got to do the exact same thing on the other side. This particular one is not finger tight, but we are going to go ahead and loosen it using a pair of channel locks. Just get it loose, and then it will come right out. Now after your bolts are completely removed, hope you ate your Wheaties, because now you're picking the toilet up.
Make sure to lift with your back, not your legs. Just kidding. Lift with your legs, not your back, like I just did. Okay, so now we've got to set our flange to be ready to take a toilet. I'm gonna use a wax gasket. I don't believe in those super cheap plastic rubber things. I believe in a wax gasket because I would rather this fails before it blows a pipe out in my basement. Now, this little guy is the perfect one, and let me show you why. This wax gasket has a flange on it, which helps direct all the stuff you don't want going on your floor down into your pipe. As you can see, there's an old one here. So I'm gonna take a putty knife, just pop it underneath there, pop that old wax gasket out, and we're gonna put the new one down there. I'm gonna grab that wax gasket, and I always put it right back into the other box, and it'll go straight into the trash then. I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up the edges here using putty knife. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because you're gonna smash it down using the toilet anyway. So then we set our wax gasket right here in the middle. Make sure our bolts are stable. Now it's on to the next part. Let's go talk about toilets. All right guys, this beautiful piece of porcelain is what I am going to be replacing that old white toilet with. It's black, it's a Kohler, so it's name brand, and it's all one piece. So there are no bolts to have to put in the bottom here. The porcelain is all one piece. Now, what is important about that? This is going into a rental house. This particular toilet, it's one piece, like I said. That means the tank bolts can't leak. Whereas this toilet, the old one, you look down in here, there are 2 tank bolts that hold this tank on, and this is a 2-piece toilet. If you have a 2-piece toilet, all you gotta do now is set the tank on the bowl and go ahead and tighten those down until they're tight. But if you haven't bought your toilet yet, consider spending an extra $100, $150, and buying a 1-piece toilet. That removes a maintenance issue. That completely removes the need to come in, and when you replace the guts of the toilet, which will happen, you don't have to deal with tank bolts, because the thing is those will leak and people won't even realize that they're leaking. And if that happens, then you're gonna have some floor damage. This solves that maintenance issue. Anyway, let's get to installing this bad boy. Okay, ladies and gents, before we pick that bad boy up, we want to prepare this flange completely. So I'm actually going to be using a thicker bolt. These are just Johnny bolts, and they're a little bit thicker. It just removes the need for any additional maintenance. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and sneak the old bolts out there. This is one of those times you can't help but get some of that nasty wax on your fingers. Now, why do I use Johnny bolts? It's because they have this quick hold piece here, so I can just jam this bad boy down in there and then slide this holder down in here. These are made by a bunch of different brands, and it's worth noting that. Sometimes it's a quick release brand, sometimes it's Johnny Bolt. But it actually looks like I might need to cut off a couple little pieces here so that I can get this to sit flat. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Chances are you won't need to. All right, I've got that cut out so it'll sit flat. Got the old bolts, we're gonna remove them. We've got the nuts and our washers over here. I just gotta find the other one. But we're ready to hoist. So let's pick this toilet up and get it ready to go. If you haven't already, slam some pre-workout because you're picking this bad boy up. It weighs 150 pounds and we're taking it in there. So it's important to clear the area of any junk that you might run into. And then you're ready. go ahead and pick stuff up and set it down.
Not bad for it being 150 pounds, right? Okay, so you want to then be able to get your bolts lined up on both sides. There's one side. There is the other side. And then we're going to want to go ahead and sit on the toilet. Smush that wax ring down, which this toilet weighs a whole 150 pounds, like I said. So you shouldn't struggle too much to get the bolts through and the wax ring to sit down. Okay guys, it's time to go ahead and put our bolts and screw them down. So what we need to do is bolt cap cover goes first, just like so, then a washer, and then we screw the nut down, just like that. Go ahead and do that to the other side as well. Okay, so once we've got all of that stuff on there, we're gonna go ahead and you just take your pliers, tighten one side. You want it so that it's secured to the floor, but not so tight that you crack the porcelain. Give the whole toilet a shake, see if it moves. This moves a little bit, so we're gonna tighten both sides, just a hair more. Right about there. Do the same thing on the other side here. Go ahead and give her a shake. Much better. Just a little bit more. Whole toilet isn't moving. That floor is going to come out beforehand. So, let's go ahead and grab our bolt cap cover and just snap it down on there. And do that on the other side. Side note, if your bolt isn't long enough and you can't put your bolt cap cover on there, it's totally okay, because you just put your washer on there, make sure you get a good seal, and then I'm gonna just throw this thing full of Palmer's putty. So yeah, could I go get new bolts? Yes, yes I could. Or I could just take some Palmer's putty and make Play-Doh inside of this bolt cap cover, because chances are the people in here are probably never going to clean the bolt cap covers. So once it's filled with your putty, all you have to do is come around here, and obviously you want to make sure that you have an excellent seal, which this does, and you just push it down on there. Now the bolt cap cover's on there and it looks perfectly fine. All right, now we are going to go ahead and install our supply line. You might be wondering, hey, this looks different. And that's because I ran a new water line for this, which isn't typically part of a installation of a toilet, so I didn't include it in the video. But now we're just going to go ahead and tighten our supply line up, lefty loosey, righty tighty, and once we get this tight, we can go ahead and hook the top part up. All right, now that is tight, we can go ahead, lay down in here, take our supply line, twist it around, and screw this so that it gets a good seal. All right, we've got a good seal, perfect. So now we can actually go ahead and open this up. Let water fill into the tank. Let's go ahead and put the toilet seat on. All right, the installation of this toilet seat is pretty simple. We've got 2 screws, and we've got these 2 nuts. And really, they set up this way. You hold on to the thumb screw, and you're just gonna go ahead and tighten this down, only with the toilet seat in between them. This is a slow close toilet seat, so you may have to fight it just a hair, but we're gonna put that screw in there, get it to go through. And now from the bottom side, just get that thing so that it'll start screwing on. Go ahead and take your Phillips screwdriver, and just tighten this down. Make sure you hold back up on the bottom piece. That's the one good thing about Kohler toilet seats, is there isn't a ton of adjustment. And since this is made specifically for a Kohler, this will have a great alignment right off the bat. Do the same for the other one. Check out the alignment there. Looks great. Now we're just going to go ahead and tighten the sides of each of these down just a hair more, because you don't want this toilet seat to be moving. And now we close our little pieces here. Okay, so I've went ahead and grabbed our toilet lid. You can flip this. Let's flush it a few times, make sure that it wants to work right. Make sure that there are no leaks down below the toilet where a wax gasket might not be completely covering. And if that's the case, you must remove it and maybe use a new wax gasket. But regardless, we're gonna go ahead and just flush this a couple times. I'm gonna let this fill back up because it does take a while. All right, perfect. We're gonna do one more flush. Check out that bowl cleaning action. That's perfect. Go ahead and let that slow close toilet seat go down. And then we're gonna take our top, go ahead, set it down on there. We have a brand new toilet. Check it out. All right guys, this has been Handy Jeff. Thank you so much for watching. Nothing is more glorious than the first break-in on a new toilet. So I hope your new toilet fits you well. We'll see you in another video. And thank you so much for watching. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. And until the next video, this has been Handy Jeff. Next week, we're gonna be doing some more adventures. I think we're doing outside hose faucets or hose spigots, whatever you wanna say. So that video will be right here, or if it's not up there, it's not out yet. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Handy Jeff. We will see you in another video.